Okay, so I'd like to, not officially, but officially if I can, that makes sense, say thank you for everybody that's currently on this first of many trainings. And of course, you've all been introduced to the GLOBIT Wealth Academy. I know John, of course, he was one of my first members. In fact, I think he might have been the first member. And of course, we're just getting the systems in place. And of course, so far, you've probably seen something which looks more or less interesting. And if you can see what we've got on this screen here right now, welcome to a new financial lifestyle with the GLOBIT Wealth Academy, a modern day approach. That's right, a modern day approach to help millions of overstressed and underpaid workers catch up financially with the new modern economy. And I think if we ask that question to many people, you know, do you feel that you've been overtaken by the economy? I think the average person is going to say, well, I've been more than overtaken, I've been left behind. So that's what we've got. We're giving the average person a chance to make up for lost ground. Okay? Now, of course, you need a good attitude, you need some skills, but more importantly, to make any progress, you need to be involved with the right vehicle. Okay, so as you know, we're involved with the financial markets, and I don't think there's anything bigger than the financial market. So if you can just be moderately successful in the financial markets, then one thing you do know is you're in the right market. You know, you're in the right market. And now we've actually expanded. We started trading the Dow. Sorry, I tell a lie. We started trading the DAX, which is the German indices. And we've now, because we've now got members in the USA, we thought, wouldn't it be a good idea if we can now offer the same service, the same support, and trading signals, but now for those people, especially living in the USA, where we can give them trading signals on the Dow. And we already have people in the USA trading the DAX, and in fact, they're getting up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and working through till breakfast time, through the night. So if you think you're making sacrifices in one shape or another in the UK, think about those people in America who want to, you know, get benefit from these signals and are having to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do so. Okay, I was really impressed. And I said to these people, I said, we'll have to get the Dow. No, it's all right. No, we're happy to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, well, fantastic. I said, but we'll do the Dow anyway. So for those people in the UK and Western Europe, that means you can trade the DAX in the morning from 7 o'clock UK time, maybe through till breakfast, if that's not too many hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Because normally, to be honest, I've done by breakfast. And a few people have said to me, are you not trading in the afternoon? And, you know, sometimes I will do if I want to. But I've also said a number of times that when people are considering this as another source of income, they're also interested in what lifestyle it provides. And if they think that they've got to do something, first of all, which is complicated, they're not going to be interested. And secondly, if you think they've got to spend 8 hours a day looking at a screen or 3 screens, they're not going to be interested. So I actually trade from first thing, which is 8 o'clock Spanish time, which is 7 o'clock UK time. And normally speaking, I can make a really, really good income, a fantastic income, by about 10 o'clock or 10:30, if not sooner. And I'm sure you can do the same. Now, if you're in the UK, the Dow doesn't start till 2:30 in the UK. Okay, so just imagine. I'll just start. You can just mute yourself there, John, and everybody else for that one.
You've got no doubt on the house number. I'm just on a call.
There we go. I've muted him anyway. So what was I saying? Strange, I get in a flow of things. Sorry. Right. Anyway, let's open the line and let's find out where we're all from. So if you just unmute yourselves and let's just introduce ourselves briefly. It'd be interesting to know who we are, where we're from, and a little bit about our background. Just give us 2 minutes of who you are, where you're from. We don't have that many people. It'd be just interesting to know who we've got. So who'd like to start? If you first of all unmute yourself.
Okay, I can start.
Okay.
I'm Imran, John's old friend. Live in Manchester, and just looking for something to do to generate a bit more money.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good enough introduction. Thank you, Imran. Anybody else? What about Richard?
Just before we move on, can I ask you a question?
Of course you can.
Because we did have a bit of conversation beforehand, and in today's presentation, is it same thing which we have already talked about, or is it something new?
Well, this, in actual fact, is the training meeting, because obviously when we started, which is not that many weeks ago, my intention was to give people personal training, personal support, and get to know people. But of course, we've now got new people joining on a daily basis. I think we've now got about 20 members, I think, so far. But we've generally got new people joining every day. So we've got to the point right now where I can't physically give people my training and support, but I can give them my full support by having a group session like this. And if anybody knows the power of Zoom, we can actually have up to 1,000 people on these training sessions. And of course, this is being recorded as well. So if anybody happens to miss the training, then they can watch it in their free time. So this is just purely a training session for those people who've just got started and they'll have received their welcome email to say, welcome to the GLOBIT Wealth Academy. And in that welcome email was a link to a PDF which gave them instructions on how to download their trading platform and how to connect it to their account. And also how to connect it to their MT4 on their phone. Okay? All right, now,
it's probably not for me then.
Yes, I think you're not, for different reasons. We discussed the trading aspect, didn't we?
Because John probably mentioned it to you.
He did, yeah.
This is not something for me.
Exactly. I think so. But let me just.
He did mention that probably you're going to launch something new.
Exactly. Well, John might have sent you a link to my new ebook, and the new ebook is called The Beginner's Guide: Making Money from Bitcoin and Cryptocurrency. Okay. So if you haven't received that, John will send you a link to that, because I did post it inside the Telegram group.
Okay.
And while we're doing this training, you can be spending a couple of hours on that ebook, because there's lots of video content, lots of information, and there's basically 2 products in there. One is an educational product where we're showing people everything they need to know about the cryptocurrency market. Whether someone's a complete beginner or someone's fairly expert at it, we've got educational products that you can actually have full resale rights to. So that means that not only will you benefit from the education, but also you can sell that education on to other people and receive 100% commission down unlimited levels. Okay, so that's that. And secondly, we're going to be talking about a revolutionary, what's called a 4th generation crypto wallet. So I don't know how many of you have already got experience with cryptocurrency, or how many people actually own any cryptocurrency. But this ebook actually shows you how you can actually download the latest 4th generation crypto wallet to your phone. Okay. And instead of having your cryptocurrency in maybe a blockchain account, or maybe Coinbase account, or wherever for that matter, if you put your cryptocurrency into this particular account, they're going to trade it for you, mostly robotically, and also going to use something called arbitrage. And that's buying cryptocurrency on one exchange and selling it on another. And typically, you're going to get an average of about 10% per month on your cryptocurrency for having it in the wallet. Okay? Because if you put your cryptocurrency into any other wallet, you won't get anything. All you're going to do is hopefully get some increase in value.
Yes.
Now, I can tell you at the moment, and some of you will know this and some of you won't know this, but I can tell you that the price of Bitcoin today, right now as we speak, is 7,000. Oh, it's come down a bit. It's $6,934.
Okay.
And in the last few days, it's gone from about 6,000 to about 7,200. So I can tell you, I've made 20% on my Bitcoin just by owning Bitcoin. And that's what most people do. They buy it, they sit on it, and they wait for it to go up in value. But this crypto wallet, you're going to get the benefit of capital appreciation, but also they're going to pay you for actually having the money in there as well. And they're going to pay you in a token that's currently worth 30 cents that people believe is going to go up to $30 or more. In other words, we've got a way where you potentially multiply your income, multiply your capital by up to 100 times or more within the next 12 months. Okay, so
I think on a principle basis, that's not for me either. So I won't waste any more of your time.
I don't know what kind of business you might be looking for, but we've done our best to provide people the best methods of income generation right now.
No, that's great. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Carry on.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'll see how can I.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, that's Imran. Anybody else? We've got John, of course. Can we hear from you, John, briefly? Your experience, your background, for those people who don't know John. You'll have to unmute yourself first, John. I'll unmute you. Don't worry about that. Now you can talk, John.
That's better, right. Yeah, my background, University of Life. I've done many jobs. In the last, since 1985, I've been in financial services. First as an appointed rep, and then as an independent financial advisor. I've been retired a few years. I'm 74, coming on 75 now, and got contacted by Malcolm through LinkedIn. We chatted, and I said, let's give it a go. And I'm very impressed at the moment with the way we can, with the guidance and following the rules, manage any risk and make a nice income. Couple of the secrets is don't be too greedy and stay within the rules that are put down. And I'm impressed, and it's going well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, John. Thank you for that. I'm now going to introduce you to Bill, who Bill has been recruiting like a train, in fact. So if anybody wants to know how to build a team, Bill's your man. He's recruited about 10 people, I think, in the last 10 days. It's about one a day. If you're there, Bill, can you have a few words about your background, where you're from, and a little bit about what you like about what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I'm Bill from Barnstable in North Devon. Been online for several years trying to make money, unsuccessfully. I joined Malcolm because he actually pitched me about 9 months ago. At that point, it was 50 quid for a 7-day trial. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get my 50 quid's worth in 7 days. So I didn't join. And then I was looking at another company about a month ago, and I pitched Malcolm on it, and he replied and showed me his returns that he was making for a day. and also the fact that we now got 50 quid for a month's trial. So I jumped in, and obviously within the first day, I more than covered my £50 that I paid Malcolm for the month's trial. So I'm delighted with what Malcolm's doing. And like John said, follow Malcolm's lead, do what he says, don't take risks with your trading, and everything will be great. So
that's about it. Sums it up in a nutshell. Very simple, as long as you follow the guidelines. It's like if you're going up a sheer rock face, you don't put your feet where you think, you put your feet where you've been told to put your feet. And if you've got a safety harness, you know, you can't come to any harm.
No, exactly. So I have to admit, I've done a few trades myself where I haven't followed Malcolm's guidelines, and I've lost a few quid, well, quite a few of them actually. So follow the system, put your trades on with a 2-point gap, take your profit after 7 points, and it works. So guys, this is a great system.
And so far, obviously, Bill is our top man in terms of building a team. And if Bill's recruitment continues at the pace it started out at, you know, Bill's going to be the first person with 1,000 people in his team.
A long way away from that, Malcolm.
Well, exactly. I mean, these things have a mind of their own. If you've got right systems and you've got something which is appreciated by the mass market, there's no limit to what can happen. And 1,000 people, as you know, you're going to receive £50 per person within your team. That's potentially an income of £50,000 a month. So we're talking about life-changing incomes, provided we can, you know, learn a few skills when it comes to marketing, and at the same time, learn some skills when it comes to trading. So thanks for that. I'll put you back on mute, Bill.
Can I just say one other thing before I go? I sort of sent you a message out that this meeting was at 6 o'clock, and I don't understand why you changed it to 5.
Am I confused?
Yeah, I got that message.
I might be confused. It wasn't intentional. I thought the meeting. I've got the PDF on my other screen here, and I can tell you what it says on the PDF.
6 p.m. UK, it says on the post you put out.
Well, if you read the PDF, trading the DAX and the Dow every Sunday, 5 o'clock UK time till 6. So if I put a different message in the group, that's my mistake. But the PDF actually has got the correct time. I don't know what time I put in the group. Let me see what I did put in the group.
Yeah, I copied and pasted it back to you on WhatsApp, Malcolm.
Did you?
So you should have more people on here, but because you just changed it to 5.
Well, as I say, I'll have to read that later. My apologies. But in future, because obviously this training meeting and the business opportunity that follows is a recruiting tool. And whether you attend live, which is ideally what you should be doing, or whether you watch it later, I mean, it's all about attending, to be honest, to explain to people what they're going to see on these trainings and what they're going to see on the opportunity meetings. Just send them a link to the PDF that tells them everything about it, including how to access it and at what time. Okay. So yeah, there's obviously a bit of a mix-up on there. So that's my apologies on to anybody who's been inconvenienced. So yeah, basically this is starting at 5 o'clock UK time, and this is going to go for about an hour, something like that. And then we've got a 2-hour break from 6 o'clock UK time until 8 o'clock. So that's nice. You've got a 2-hour break, and then from 8 o'clock till maybe 9 or even 9:30, we're going to go through the opportunity meeting. And what does this mean in terms of a business? Okay, so that's that. I'd just like to move on now. Can we just have a little quick word with Chris? Because I think Chris has got a little bit of experience. I know, not a little bit. I think he's got quite a lot of experience, Chris. So can we just have a few words about yourself, Chris?
Hi, Malcolm. Good to see you again. Yeah, my background is I've been trading the forex for about 10 years. And I have a small group of investors that I manage. It's just a private fund. So I'm a fundamental trader, though. I'm not a technical trader. I trade purely on news and economic calendars and things like that. So I do have a bit of experience. I was a technical trader for a number of years and found out that doesn't matter how great you are at reading the charts and chart patterns and all the rest of it and Bollinger Bands and all that other stuff. It's only part of the picture. So I'm self-taught, very much like you, Malcolm. I'm self-taught, and I've paid the price for that experience. I can tell you, with a lot of pain, both in emotionally and in the pocket. And it seems to be just the price you have to pay to get that experience. So Bill introduced me to this. I'm in the process now. I've set everything up. I've got my broker account set up. I'm going to run a demo, and I'm going to start running the signals now from tomorrow onwards. And hopefully, I mean, I've seen what Bill did. I'm very excited. So I'm going to run it for a couple of weeks, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. And there's nothing wrong in being excited. It means that you've understood the concept and you've recognised the potential. Someone that isn't excited means they've got a bit of a screw missing somewhere, and we can't put that screw where it's not there.
Sure, yeah.
If you're excited, then treat that as a bonus.
I've been told my screws are a little bit loose, but I think they're all in place.
They're all in place. I wasn't trying to suggest otherwise, of course, Chris.
Okay.
I don't know if Rick wants to have a little word. I've spoken to Rick quite a bit on the phone, but I've not actually physically met Rick, so it'd be nice to just have a few words with Rick.
Hello, mate. All right?
I'm all right, Rick. I think Rick's from, is it Newcastle?
Aye, mate, yeah.
Well, just have a few words, Rick, about what brought you here and what you think you might see.
Bill introduced us to this. Me and Bill's been involved in a few other things before. Obviously, crypto sometimes gets a bit concerning when you're putting your money in other people's hands. So obviously, I've always wanted to learn how to do this, and I think it's a much safer, better way of investing my money to make money. But the thing is, I'm starting right at the beginning. I've just got to learn, and I'm here to learn, you know.
Definitely. I think we're all entrepreneurs, basically. I know Rick is an entrepreneur. He's been in various businesses. He's been, in traditional businesses where you've got to physically work physically hard. And I think from what Rick was telling me, he's looking to earn a lot more income, but with a lot less physical effort.
Yes.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And if we just have a little word with Daniel, because Daniel is someone who is also a very serious entrepreneur. He's in Manchester, I think Warrington. If you just have a few words, Daniel, about what you've seen so far and what you think the potential is with this business. Are you there, Dan? He is there somewhere, but never mind. We'll speak to Dan another day. If there's anybody else who'd just like to have 2 words, just as a final little introduction. Anybody else? We've got Alison there, actually. I've not spoken to Alison, so I'd like to say hello to Alison.
I would like to introduce myself.
Yes, go on then, please. Where are you calling from? What's your name?
My name is Edward Rød.
Oh, yes, from Denmark, Edward.
I'm living in Denmark, but I'm Icelandic.
Oh, right. Is your camera working, Edward?
Sorry, if
your camera working?
No, I'm retired.
Okay.
But I've been an individual business owner for 30 years.
Okay.
But my economic, not my economic, but the economics of my country sort of went away in 2008 in the bank crisis.
In Iceland, you're talking about?
In Iceland, of course.
Yes, I think it was very famous. I think we all heard about that.
Yeah. Anyways,
you also told us a few things about how to play football, I remember.
Yeah, but that prevented me from moving on to what I was doing. As I was an import and retail selling of kitchen furniture and staircases and wooden houses and so on.
Okay.
But when the currency went down 8%, then that was the end of it. So since then I've been learning internet marketing. I've known Bill for 9 years, I think now, and we have done this and that together and followed each other. And therefore, I am here by his invitation. I know about arbitrage and arbitrage trading because I've done that before, but the company that I was with was giving good results. But one dark day, it disappeared with my funds and everything. So it's typical. Now,
right, exactly. Well, yes,
yeah,
I look forward to working with you more closely, Edward, especially on these webinars. My intention is to give people the tools, the training, and the support. It sounds like we're all from an entrepreneurial background, and as we know, being an entrepreneur comes with its highs and lows. But I decided that having been an entrepreneur all my life, I wanted to be involved in the internet. And I think it took me probably 10 years to really work out what the internet was all about, because it's one of those situations you don't know what you don't know. And, but I was passionate about it because I knew that it was here to stay. And I saw other people making a success, but I truly thought my success was going to come a lot quicker than what it did do. And it took me about 10 years, I must admit. I never really made any money online, although I was successful. I had some success, quite a lot of success with trading over the last 5 years. And unfortunately, I was trading with platforms that unfortunately were not regulated, and much of the profits I made disappeared into thin air. In fact, just previous to starting GLOBIT Wealth Academy, I'd been introduced into another trading platform, reluctantly, of course, and yet again, my money was stolen. And I said to my colleague, I said, look, don't worry. I said, we can put our own business together, or at least I can put my own business together. And that was about last September. Okay? So although I've got on and off 5 years worth of experience of trading the markets, and I've even had people pay me upwards of £500 a month on a consultancy basis, regrettably, I've always been with the wrong broker. So I'm now pleased to say that we've got an excellent broker in the US, which is FX Choice, for those people who want to trade, in America or even Canada for that matter. And then for the rest of the world, we've got BD Swiss, who I can tell you from my personal experience, are really, really fantastic in providing excellent support, and they do everything they say they're going to do. Okay, so thank you for those introductions, and we're going to keep this business really, really simple. Let me just explain where I'm coming from before we move forward. I never claim to be an expert, really, at anything, because if we remain humble, the reality is, I don't think you ever become an expert. You might become more informed and more knowledgeable than average, than most people, but there's always something to learn. And what I'm saying with the GLOBIT Wealth Academy is, I'm not claiming to be the most sophisticated trader or the most experienced trader. I'm self-taught, like I think it was Chris was talking, but I've just developed a system that works for me. And I've had people say to me, where did I learn that system? Because some of the people on the call today, they've been to these trading weekends and trading seminars where they paid upwards of $20,000. Okay, so this certainly, as you know, isn't $20,000, but the results that people are getting from my simple methods far outweigh the kind of results that people were getting when they've invested $20,000 and more from so-called guru training. So as I say, we're not claiming to be experts. All we're saying is that this method does work. And before I move on, I just want to add another little thing, and that is that I see this trading the markets as being a really, really excellent cash generator. okay? And I think, you know, moving forward financially, you need what some people might call a cash cow or an income generator. And this to me is a perfect income generator because you can trade these markets virtually 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, 7 days a week if you count the cryptocurrency market. So it's an excellent cash generator. And in our business opportunity meeting, which is going to start at 8 o'clock, I'm going to show you how you can use both your capital, but also your cash that you might be generating from trading the DAX and trading the Dow, how potentially you can multiply that maybe 100 times or more by converting that into cryptocurrency and putting that into your own crypto wallet. Okay, so what I'm going to say today is all about how to trade, but just see this as part of an overall jigsaw, as it were. Just see this as an overall method of creating wealth. And this is, as I say, what I consider to be an excellent cash generator. I'm going to take you through to a trading platform. Okay, so this is a trading platform. In fact, it's the BD Swiss trading platform. And what I'm pleased to say is that when you registered and you paid your £50 with the GLOBIT Wealth Academy, you all received a welcome email from me, and you also received a link to a PDF, and that PDF gave you step-by-step instructions on how to set up your BD Swiss trading platform, and also how to set up your MT4 on your phone, and how to connect the two. Okay, so I believe that all the people on the call today have probably got to that point. They've registered their account with the GLOBIT Wealth Academy. They've registered their account with BD Swiss. Those who might be in the USA have registered with FX Choice. You've also got your account approved and verified. You've uploaded your profile information and your passport as your proof of ID, and your bank statement probably as your proof of address. So your account is now all ready to go as a demo. Okay. Now, talking of demos, I'm suggesting that if you're taking out a 30-day trial, I would suggest that you trade on a demo for at least 2 weeks. And what I'm going to be talking about on this training session is expectations, because of course we're all human, and everybody wants to make money, but everybody wants to make money, in my opinion, far too quickly. And it doesn't matter who you look at in life. You know, I'm going to use David Beckham as an example. I know he's not in his heyday anymore, but we all know David Beckham. You know, David Beckham was one of the highest paid footballers in history, no doubt, but he didn't go from playing football in the school playing ground to suddenly becoming David Beckham. Okay, so, you know, you do have to have realistic expectations and realize that someone who's generating a lot of income from whatever they might be doing has probably got years and years of practice to get to that point. Okay, so we're now starting our journey, as it were, trading financial markets. And what I'd like to do is treat this as a 5-year plan, a 3 to 5 year plan, because I believe that wealth doesn't come in your first year. It doesn't come in your second year. It could be anywhere between 3 and 5 years. And what you've got to do is focus on consistently improving on a daily basis. And the only way you can improve on a daily basis is through practice. Okay, so even when you're making no money, and even when you might have some bad experiences, you've got to work through all of those, because everything is a learning curve. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about realistic expectations. The other thing is, before we start, is, you know, people say to me, well, how much can we make trading the DAX? Or how much can we make trading the Dow? Well, the answer to that is it's unlimited. But unfortunately, so is the risk. And what we want to make sure is that whatever account balance that you have right now, is that your account balance consistently increases. It's not about making 1,000 today and losing 2,000 tomorrow, or making 10,000 this month and losing 15,000 next month. We're looking at consistent results. I'm talking about consistently growing your balance. Okay. An interesting thing to consider on that note is, if you've got a pen and paper, just write down 3%. And the reason I'm saying 3% is because if you can grow any capital by 3% per day, you know, in 6 months and certainly 12 months from now, that's a huge amount of capital. So let's assume, for example, you've got a trading balance of £2,000 or €2,000 or $2,000. 3% is €60 or £60 or $60. I think if I said to most of you that you can make €60 a day, you'd probably say, well, that's not too bad, but I've heard you can make a lot more. So be grateful, of course, that you can make 3% a day, because 3% per day consistently, when your account keeps growing, you know, 6 months from now is going to be a huge amount, a huge, huge, huge amount, if you can consistently keep making trades and making profits on those trades. You've all seen my proof of income, and you've seen a few others, their proof of income. You know, fortunately, with this simple system, you know, we are winning on most of our trades. I would say 80 or 90% of our trades are winning. So all you've got to do is control the amount of money you speculate on each of these trades, keep the trade size down, and if you keep the trade size down, it's going to keep your risk level down, okay? And that's really the power of compounding. And what we've got with the GLOBIT Wealth Academy is a system. It's a system that anybody can apply, whether you've got trading experience or not. If you can navigate a platform and you know how to click a mouse, then you should be able to generate the same kind of results as I'm generating, because this is a system. And we've kept it deliberately simple so that people can have success and results from using this same system. And of course, another thing that we've got with GLOBIT Wealth Academy is not just a simple system, but also we're involved in a very, very powerful business model, which is relationship marketing or multi-level marketing. And that, of course, has not had a very good reputation over the years. It's a very powerful business. For those of people who don't know, many people might have heard this before, but the size of the MLM industry, of which there are thousands and thousands of companies now participating, has got a market value greater than the National Football League in the USA, the Hollywood film industry combined. Okay, so it's worth literally hundreds of billions of dollars, and that's the marketplace that we're in. And the reason it's so successful is because the companies that use multi-level marketing as a means of distribution and as a method of marketing, they don't have to spend any money on advertising. And if I think about my property business, for example, you know, I've spent millions of pounds on advertising, you know, 70, 80,000 pounds a week on advertising. And with advertising, you just don't know where it's gone. You know, it's most of it is wasted. But with referral marketing, you know, you can work from home, you can work from a laptop, you can work from your phone, you can work from anywhere in the world. You don't have to spend any money on advertising. And that's why we're using relationship marketing. Let's move on. So this is what your account looks like, or this is what your trading account looks like when you register with BD Swiss, or you might have registered with FX Choice, but this is typically what your account will look like. This is a demo account I've just logged into, and this is what it looks like. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is you don't need 4 charts. So what you've got to do is everything I'm going to show you now, you need to set up your trading platform just like I'm about to set this up, okay? And you will get a chance to watch this video later. So just follow these simple steps and your platform will look just like mine does. So I'm going to close those 3 charts. I'm now going to expand that, and there we go. Okay. Now, this in the orange section at the top left here is what we call the market watch list. And this has all the different instruments, whether it be indices, commodities, shares, Forex. But when you first open the platform, it only has a limited selection, which is what it's showing right now. It's a limited selection. So what we have to do is put our mouse on the market watch list, top left, as you can see there, do a right click, scroll down and click show all, okay? And that will have now added all the different instruments, okay? And you can see there's a huge choice of things that you could be making money from when it comes to trading. So what we're looking for is we're looking for the German DAX. So the yellow section, the orange section, these are all currency pairs. You've got the major currency pairs like the dollar. Then you also got the minor currency pairs like the South African rand and those kind of things. There's some more currency pairs. If you just make sure you've got your, in fact, I can do that for you. Just give me 2 seconds. I can mute everybody here if they're not muted, which I don't think they are. In a minute. Okay, so everybody's muted now, so we don't get high screen bands and things running in the background. So that's that. Let's have a look now, see if we can find the DAX. Okay. I know. Interesting. So that's an interesting. That's interesting. Of course, it's Sunday, and I think because it's Sunday, it's not shown. Okay, so what we'll have to do, I think, we'll have to pretend. Okay, so one of the mistakes that people make when trading, and if you've got any experience of trading, I think you might have fallen into this mistake also, is the fact that people think that it makes good financial sense to be trading maybe 4 or 5 different things all at the same time. So typically you might have a trade on with the US dollar, Canadian dollar. You might have a trade on with the British pound against the euro. You might have a trade on because you believe that the value of gold is going to appreciate, so you've got a gold trade on. You might have a trade on with oil. You might have a trade on with the euro against the Japanese yen. So you could have maybe 5 trades on. Now, have you ever tried spinning 5 plates at the same time? Well, I haven't, but I've watched people do it, and it's a skill. Or have you ever tried, and I know you haven't, but this is a saying, chasing 5 rabbits at the same time? Obviously, if you were chasing one, I'm not saying you're going to catch it, but at least you can focus on it. And that's what we're saying with this. Focus on one instrument, and if you can make all the money that you need and more from trading just the DAX, for example, or trading just the Dow, why would you need 5 or 6 trades on at any one time? The answer is you don't. And so this is what we do. We trade the DAX. And the DAX, of course, is the German indices. It represents the 30 top companies in Germany by market valuation. And historically, it has more daily movement than any other indices, than any other currency pair, than any other instrument that you could possibly imagine. The DAX has more daily movement. And if we want to trade, you know, we can't make money, we can't make profit from an instrument that is not moving. And that's the problem sometimes if you're trading Forex. You know, it sometimes involves putting a trade on today, and it might be on for maybe 2 or 3 days until your trade is showing a profit. Well, we can typically place 10, 20, 30 trades a day or more, and our trades are open for maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. But during the course of the day, because the DAX moves a lot, you can have 20, 30 trades in a day. Okay, so that's why we trade the DAX. So I'm saying to you now, don't think about trading anything else apart from the DAX. Okay, another thing you need to do is bear in mind that the DAX opens at 7 o'clock UK time, 5 days a week. And I can tell you, so that's 7 o'clock UK time. And I set my alarm on my phone, that is. I set my alarm on my phone every morning at 7 o'clock. So by the time I've got up, had a shower, ready for the day, it's typically about 7:30. And I've got half an hour to have a look at the Australian markets before the market opens at 8 o'clock, and I'm ready to trade. Okay, so trading is all about discipline. You've got to trade every day. You don't have to, but I'm recommending that you do. I'm also recommending that you put on at least 10 trades a day, because the more trades you place, the more experience you're going to gain. And I'm recommending that you choose the time of day that fits in with your schedule. And I can tell you that, of course, nobody likes getting up early, but I mean, it's worth it, because the DAX has greatest movement first thing in the morning and also in the afternoon. And if you think about that, you know, ask yourself, why would that be? I'll tell you why. Because it's not just us looking at these charts. It's literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people just like us around the world, including all those financial institutions, all those merchant banks, all those hedge funds. They've got literally billions of dollars to place on these markets. Okay, that money has to go somewhere. So that money is either going to go on or it's going to come out of the market. If it goes on, it means the value is going to appreciate. If it comes out of the market, the value is going to go down. And so we want to catch this early movement in the morning, because that's easy money. And we had 5 signals. I don't know whether it was Thursday or Friday last week. I put 5 signals in the Telegram group about, might have been 8:15. That's 7:15 your time in the UK. And by, I believe it was about 25 past, 10 minutes later, all those 5 trades had opened and closed. And I spoke to Lee. I don't think he's on the call today, but I spoke to Lee from Manchester, and I said to him jokingly, I said it was definitely worth getting out of bed in the morning. He said, I'm not out of bed, I'm in bed. He said, but I set my alarm for 7 o'clock, and he said, just to get the signals. And he said, I've just banked those 5 signals. I've made about £30 or something on each one. So just for setting his alarm and placing the signals, he made 150 within 15 minutes. And that's fairly typical, to be honest. These trades are going to open quickly, and they're going to close quickly as well, because I'll show you in a moment, but these trades all have 7 points take profit. And what that means is we're not going to open a trade and sit on it until it's showing us maybe a £500 profit. We're going to open a trade with a very, very small profit margin, so that no sooner has it opened, it's going to close very quickly as well. And that's what we call a pending order. So basically, as I say, I don't think the DAX is there right now, but that's no problem. You're going to look in this market watch list, and you're going to scroll all the way down. It's actually in there normally, in this turquoise section. And Germany 30, Germany 30 cash index. Let's drag that one across. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure if Germany 30. There we go. I couldn't see it for looking. So it's the GER 30. That is the DAX. Okay. All you have to do is drag it across and drop it into the center of the screen there. And All the rest you can eliminate. So you're going to do a right click, scroll down, click hide all, and it's going to remove all the other instruments apart from the one that you want. And there's a reason for that, and that is because sometimes you'll place a trade and you'll get excited because you just made, I don't know, £50 or so, £100, and can't understand why it's showing a loss. And if you ever get that situation, it's because you've put the trade on the wrong chart, and that's very frustrating. So to avoid that from happening, make sure that you eliminate all the other instruments apart from the DAX, of course. And when you start trading the Dow in the afternoon, you're going to eliminate the DAX and you're only going to have the Dow. Okay, and if you want to bring them all back, you do a right click and click show all, and then they all come back. Okay, so now we want to remove everything apart from the DAX, which is the GER30. So I'm going to click hide all. Okay, so now we've hidden them all. I can now close that whole section, and I can also close the navigator, and I can also stretch across here a little bit. I think that makes sense. We're only looking at the chart that we're actually financially interested in. We don't want to make that mistake of placing a trade on the wrong chart. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is magnify those candlesticks. And we click, you'll see here across the top here, we've got a little magnifying glass where we can zoom in like this, or we can zoom out. Okay, and when you zoom right out, it tells you a lot, but it sort of tells you nothing. So you've got to get it just about right, and I'll show you what you need. That is about right. Okay, and you can actually change the color of these candlesticks. I like to have white candlesticks going down, which is what we call bear candlesticks. A bear is what we call a bear market. When the values go down, it's what we call a bear market. So those are bear spelled B-E-A-R, bear candles, the white ones, and the green ones are what we call bull candles. They're the ones that are going up in value. Okay, so that's what they are. Down the right-hand side here, you'll see this is the scale. Okay, so typically the Dow, sorry, the DAX is around about 12,200 points at the moment, and of course it goes up and down relative to the value of those top shares in Germany. So that is what we're looking at. Now, the next thing I want to show you is these different time frames, because each of these candlesticks represents a specific time period. If we go to this one here, this is the monthly candlesticks. So if we look at the far right here, and what we can also do as well is we can do that. You see these two little icons here. That will bring the chart to the left somewhat. Okay, which is quite nice. It allows you to focus on the bit that you're really looking to look at more closely. So these candles here, each of these candles, because we're on the monthly chart, each of these candles represents 1 month. So this is the month of May, this is the month of April, March, February, January, and this was December. So you can see that January, February, March, April, May, the value of the DAX has been appreciating. Now, joking apart, do you think that's useful to know that the DAX has been appreciating? Well, of course, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to put the law of probability in our favor. If you want to go to a casino and you want to put money on the spin of a wheel, you know, whether it be red or black, odd or even, it's 50-50. You know, sometimes you might win, sometimes you might lose, but we're not talking about gambling. If you want to gamble, you'd be better off going to a casino or playing the lottery or putting money on horses or greyhounds, because that's gambling. we actually put the law of probability in our favor, which is why when you look at my proof of income in my ebook, the 21 Golden Rules of Trading has a page which shows my proof of income during the course of 7 days. And that video shows that I had one small losing trade within 7 days. In other words, there was about 30 trades altogether, and about 29 of them were profitable ones, and there was a very small loss. Okay. Now, I do point out in that video, don't think that that's going to be typical of your results. But what it does show is that these methods do work. And all you've got to do is practice these methods on a demo account for 2 weeks, because that will develop your understanding further. It will give you first-hand experience, and it will convince you that not only do these signals work, but it will convince you that you can do this. Okay, because many people start anything with a negative voice in the back of their head saying, I don't think I can do this. This looks too complicated. And it doesn't matter whether you're going to ride a horse, climb a mountain, put a pair of skis on, it doesn't matter what you're doing for the first time, people will doubt their ability to succeed. But I'm telling you that if you follow these simple methods and these simple systems, you can have the same kind of results as I'm getting, because we've had people join the academy and in their first day, they've had nothing but winning trades. Okay, but don't have those kind of expectations. Do think in terms of growing your capital by perhaps 3% per day. That would be far more realistic. If you can do better than that, fantastic. But we're looking for consistency. We want to think that you're still here 6 months from now. We want to think that you're going to still be here in 12 months from now. And we'd like to think that 2 years from now, that you've made an absolute fortune, that you've changed your life financially. Wouldn't that be wonderful? But we all have to start somewhere. Okay, so that's the monthly chart. This is the weekly chart. And that also tells us a picture. That shows us that the DAX has been rising every week virtually, with a few exceptions, since Christmas. It also shows us as well that before Christmas it was losing value. Okay, so what goes down comes back up. What goes up comes down. So if you've seen the DAX going up in value, don't think it's going to go up forever, because it will come down. But the thing is, these indices do like to rise in value, because historically all indices in the long term do rise. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about the NASDAQ, which is the top 30 technological companies in America, or you're talking about the Dow in America, which is the top 30 companies in America, or you're talking about the DAX, which is the top 30 companies in Germany, or you might be talking about the FTSE 100. All these indices historically do go up in value over the long term, and but they do go down from time to time in the short term. Okay, so I like to put, my favorite trade is a buy. But of course, there's no point in putting a buy on if it's currently losing value. So you can see here during this particular week, that the Dow was actually losing value that particular week. And you can actually put your mouse on these candles, and it will actually show you, if you do it carefully, a ticket will show you, and it will actually show you, there you go. Oops, there you go. It will actually show you that particular candle, when it was actually, that was the 12th of February 2018. Okay, and it shows you the opening value, the closing value, the highest point, the lowest point. So there's a bit of useful information. So what I do in the morning, before I create my signals, I'm looking for the trend. So we've looked at 2 of these charts so far. We looked at the monthly chart. We now looked at the weekly chart, and you can see on both of these, the trend is upwards. Let's have a look at the daily one. Well, that's interesting, because you can see the trend has been upwards since Christmas on a daily basis, or over this period of time, but just lately, it's been showing signs of going down. So that means it could be a downtrend right now. Let's have a look a little bit closer. So we now go to the 4-hour one. Okay. We've got sort of mixed thoughts going on here. It's going down and it's going back up again. Now this is the hourly chart. Okay, so this is going up here. Now, before I look at any more time frames, another mistake that people make is they look at the wrong time frames. You know, to plan your trades, you need to use these bigger time frames. So we're on the hourly chart right now. People go to this 1 minute chart for some reason, and you've got to remember that these candles represent 1 minute. So they'll come to the chart at whatever time of day it might be, whenever they might have found themselves a spare hour. They'll look at their account balance and think, great, I've got £1,000 in my account, I better start trading. So because they've come to the platform with an intention to trade, it's a bit like going to the bookmakers with £50 in your pocket and thinking, well, I've got to spend this 50 because I want to gamble. And that's what they do. They put the trades on without thinking. They do a little bit of preparation for about 3 minutes, and off they go. They start trading on the 1 minute chart, and their emotions are all over the place. So what we do is we look for the bigger time frames. So as you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours there. It was rising, okay? And I'll tell you in a moment where to put your trades on, but you need to know, most importantly, is are these trades going up in value or not? Sorry, is the indices going up in value or is it going down? And is it consistent? Okay. Now, while we're on the hour chart, we need to zoom out, because I'm now going to show you something else. And I'm going to put you some horizontal lines on the screen just to make this point. Now, if you put your mouse just there, you can click the horizontal line, and you can put some lines on which are quite interesting. There's one there. There's one there. There's another one about there somewhere. And there's another one there. Now, if everybody wasn't muted, I'm sure somebody who's listening right now could tell me what they are. But if you don't know what they are, I'll tell you. These are peaks, and these are troughs. Okay, so you've got to think of it, the peak of a mountain and the trough of a valley. The peak of a mountain and the trough of a valley. This is another peak, and this is another trough. This is another peak, okay? And what we're actually looking for is what we call resistance and support, okay? Now here is another peak, okay? And here's a peak. And what typically happens, and as I say, you've got thousands of professional traders from around the world looking at these charts the same way as we are right now, thinking, is it a good idea to speculate with a buy, or is it a good idea to speculate with a sell? So we need to know what the trend is, and we know that the trend is upwards, but equally we've got to keep our eyes open for a potential resistance. And here's a perfect example. Okay, so if you're looking at the 1 hour chart thinking, I'll put a trade on because it's going up in value, it could be the wrong thing to do. And I'll tell you why. Because what could happen is it could go up to this point here, which is equivalent to this point here, and then it could go back down again. Because this, in actual fact, is what we call a resistance level. In other words, it's where the DAX has been before, and for some technical or financial reason, it finds it difficult to pass through that, that level. And this is what repeats itself historically. So you'll find that when it gets to that point, it could very well reverse itself and come back down again, or it could break through that resistance level and continue. So this is the way I would approach placing a trade. If I saw that chart right now, I would think in terms of putting a trade above that resistance level, about there. Because what that means is if the DAX crosses that threshold, crosses that what seems to be a resistance level, and it carries on moving upwards, there's no reason why it shouldn't keep climbing. No reason at all. So I would say, if I start putting trades on there, you know, maybe put them up to that level. So here you see, I would have a piece of paper, pen and paper, and on the piece of paper I'd write 12,243. And you can see that's exactly where I put that horizontal line, 12,243. I would also write on my piece of paper 12,291. And what's that? That's about 50 points. Okay. Now, you'll know, if you don't know already, each of our trades, we put a trade on only for 7 points. And there's a good reason why we do that. But let me make a note of that. I'm going to make a note of that, because we're going to come back to that in a moment. It's vital information. 12,291. And the other one is 12,333. 12,333. Right, okay. So with your pen and paper, because you need to make some notes of this, we're generally going to place what's going to be called a pending order. Okay, a pending order means it's not going to be active immediately. It's going to be activated automatically the moment the DAX crosses a certain threshold. So we're going to place a trade in advance of the market, or even what we call behind the market. In other words, lower than the market. So make a note of that on your piece of paper, a pending order. The beauty of a pending order is if you do your preparation in the morning, and of course, I've done the preparation for you really, because I'm going to send you trading signals. But I'd like you to use those trading signals as a basis, as a foundation, and I'd like you to apply these methods and strategies so that you can recognize trading opportunities for yourself. Okay, so that if you're making 4 or 5 trades a day from the signals that I send you, and you're placing another 10 or 15 trades as well, and most of those are making money, you're going to be absolutely delighted. And you can do that. So if you apply the same methods and strategies as I'm teaching you right now, you'll be able to place 10 or 15 trades a day, mostly that will turn into profit. Okay, so this is really, really important. And we're going to do that generally with what we call a pending order. And as I say, a pending order is great because it means you can do your preparation right now, and they're not going to activate until at some stage in the future. When I talk about the future, I'm talking about maybe in 15 minutes, or it might be an hour's time, but it's not right now. If you want to place an order right now, and you can write this down, it would be what we call a market execution order. A market execution. I'll show you where to find these orders in a moment. So my favorite type of order is a pending order, but occasionally I might place a market execution. So if we think, and based on our research, we believe that the value is going up, the trend is upwards, then we place what we call a buy. If we think the market is going down, we place what we call a stop, okay? But if it's a pending order, it's not a buy, it's a buy stop, okay? Write that down. If it's a pending order and you think it's going to rise in value, it's not just a buy, it's a buy stop, okay? If you think the market is going to go down in value and you want to place a pending order, it's not just a stop, it's not just a sell, it's not just a sell, it's a sell stop. It's a sell stop. Okay, so pending order, if it's going up, we place what we call a buy stop. If we think it's going down, we place what we call a sell stop. If we want to place an order immediately, it's what we call market execution. Okay, so we're therefore going to look at placing what we call a buy stop. And if we want to place our trade at 12,291, that would be what we call the entry level. So if you write that down on your piece of paper, entry level, E-N-T-R-Y, entry level. And then we have something called take profit. Now that would be 12 points in advance of your entry level. So that will be 12,298. Okay, 7 points. And then you would have something called stop loss. Now, everybody's led to believe that when you're trading on the financial markets, you should always have a stop loss. And the reason you have a stop loss is because when you place a trade, let's assume you've placed a buy stop because you believe that the value of the DAX is going to continue appreciating or moving up in value based on the chart, you would therefore place a pending order, which is a buy stop. If for some reason the value of the DAX came down and it came down to 12,251, you know, that means it would have dropped 40 points in the wrong direction. If the DAX came down to 12,241, it means that the DAX has moved in the wrong direction. And what it would also mean is that your account would currently be showing a loss. But you can only make a loss when you physically close these trades. So what I typically teach people is don't panic because it's currently showing that you're losing 10 euros or, you know, 20 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 150 pounds, because the trend is upwards. Yes, it might go in reversal, it might come down, it might show that you're currently losing money, but you only physically lose when you physically close the trade. So what you have to do is you have to stick with your vision, and your vision was that it's going up in value and that you believe that was a good trade. And that's why I trade with an element of calmness. And I spoke to one of our traders about a week ago. He's been trading some years, and you know, I can relate to this, but when you look at the numbers, you know, you get too excited when you're making money and you get too unhappy when you're losing money, and your emotions can be all over the place. So what you have to do is you have to do your research, you do have to do your preparation, and you have to decide what do you think is a good trade. And when you've made that decision that you've got the right trades in place, stick with them and don't panic. Okay, don't panic, because most of the best way to lose money with trading is to do no preparation, put trades on just because you want to put a trade on, and panic. And you'll quickly lose all your money, and you'll think, well, I shouldn't have done that in the first instance. It's because you panicked, you let emotion get the better of you, and you didn't do any preparation. Okay, so yes, of course, you can put on a stop loss, but what I think is important is that when you put these trades on, that you monitor them. And I've got an expression. If you can imagine that you own a menswear shop in your local city centre, and you've got some Armani suits, and you've got some Boss suits, and you've got some Versace suits, for example, you know, expensive menswear, and you've spent, I don't know, £100,000 on stock. Would you leave the main entrance to your shop door wide open while you go with your staff for a beer at lunchtime? You wouldn't, would you? And if you did, you'd probably come back to an empty shop. So that's the same with trading. Yes, of course, it's very, very portable. It means you can trade from anywhere in the world, by the swimming pool, side of a mountain, in the car, in the bedroom, anywhere you like. But each of these trades represents profit and loss. And if there's profit and loss potential, why would you want to turn a blind eye and hope for the best. So don't make that mistake. If you're going to put trades on, keep a close eye on them, either from your phone or from your computer. Now, what I do when I'm doing a multitude of things on my computer, I've got 2 other screens and I'm keeping an eye on them. And that's no different to having music playing in the background. It's relaxing, I'm listening to it, but I'm basically doing some other things. And that's how I trade. Now, if you don't trade like that, how are you going to trade? You're going to trade with intensity. You're going to be looking at the each movement as if it's a life or death matter. Well, it's not, because you've put your preparation in. So carry on your normal things that you might be doing. It could be Facebook, it could be anything you wish, but just keep an eye on those trades and be ready to close them if you need to. Okay, so back to this trade again. We're going to put on a buy stop at 12,291. It's going to have a take profit at 12,298, and the stop loss, let's say we're not going to have one. Or let's say you're going to have a stop loss of 40, which means you'll put on the trade as a stop loss at 12,291 minus 40, which would be 12,251. Okay. So let's put that trade on. In fact, we can't put that trade on because the market's closed, but let me show you how to put that trade on if you wish. Okay, so what you do, you go to here where it says new order, and the order ticket will open. And first and foremost, you can see where it says market execution. So you're going to click here where it says market execution, click pending order. You can see, as we said before, if you want to place an instant order, that's market execution. If you want to place an order at some stage in the future, which is what most of my orders are, you want a pending order. So you select pending order. As we've said before, if you believe the market is going to go up in value, you click on this drop-down box where it says type, and you can see that you've got buy limit. Let me just say that. You've got buy limit, sell limit, buy stop, sell stop. Okay, so the limit orders, slightly different. I don't tend to do limit orders. So I'm mostly putting on buy stops and sell stops. So if you're putting on a buy stop, click that. Okay. So you've now selected a pending order. You've chosen buy stop. At what price? So this is where you put in your entry level. So it's going to be 12,291. And the next thing you want to enter is the take profit, which we said is for 7 points, 12,298. And the next thing is a stop loss. So we'll put on a stop loss. We're going to put on 12,251. So in other words, it would have to fall 40 points in the wrong direction before this trade automatically closes and shows a loss. Okay. Expiry. Now you click the box, click the drop down, and I always put it on for some, for a date, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later on in the month. And what that means is when you place that trade is going to be in the system for the next 2 or 3 weeks. However, every day at about 5 o'clock UK time, at the latest, maybe 6 o'clock, I will make sure that I've closed all my trades, all my live trades, and all my pending orders. So I never close the platform with pending orders or open trades. And I recommend that you don't either. Because if you leave trades open overnight or pending orders, and the market opens in the wrong direction in the morning, you could suddenly open the platform the following morning for a big shock, and you could suddenly find that you're losing £500 or more. So you don't need that risk. So this is all about reducing the risk, trading where the law of probability is on your side, and if you do that, you'll be trading in the morning, afternoon, and you'll be making sure that each day you've closed all your live trades and you've closed all your pending orders. Okay, So that's what you'll do. You'll place that and you'll click here where it says place. If you heard that, that's because the market is closed. Now, the market, you need to put this on your piece of paper. The DAX is open from 7 o'clock UK time, Monday to Friday. 7 o'clock UK time, Monday to Friday, and it closes at 9 o'clock in the evening, Monday to Friday. And provided you've put that trade on between those times, then you'll have no problem. And what you'll then have to do is just click OK. So basically that would normally place the trade, and all you have to do is to finally complete the purchase is click OK. And when you do that, that trade will actually appear in the trade section just here, okay, at the bottom. That's where your trade will sit, and that trade will sit there until it's activated. Okay, so I've talked there about how to place an order, and also that we make sure that each order has only 7 points. And if we want to place another order, the next order, we need to just show this, that if that trade is going to close at 12,298, and we want to put another trade above, because we've said, don't forget, that we believe that you've got potential here to go all the way up to 12,333. So you could put on maybe 4 or 5 trades here and have no problem whatsoever. And each trade for 7 points, if you've got 5 lots, and you'll need about £500 on your account to place a trade with 5 lots, each of those trades is going to make you about £30. So if you can put 5 trades on and they all win, there's £150 profit there. And that can happen within half an hour or less, okay? And let's face it, if you can do that 5 times a week, and you can make 150 a day, there's £750 a week, just clicking a mouse, and you know, what could be simpler? But the next trade would be, if that one closes at 12,298, the next one would be 12,298 to 300. So that'd be 12,300, and that would go on at 12,307. Okay. So that's how you do that. And of course, we're looking all the way down here. I might plan my trades on the 30-minute, and I might even plan my trades on the 15-minute. But I really don't I don't look for trades on the 5, and I certainly don't use the 1 minute. And I also zoom out as well, just to see historically what's been happening, just to give myself a bit of a better picture. And I'm now going to show you what we call a Bollinger Band. Now, the Bollinger Band is really, really important. And the Bollinger Band you can add to your screen. So let me show you how to do that. You're going to go to Insert at the top here, click Indicators, scroll down to Trend, and go across to Bollinger Band, and click. Now, leave the settings as they are, but click the style, and you want to choose normally you've got white on there. Yellow's okay. You want something to contrast with the screen, so I would normally choose white, but yellow's okay. Can you see that? Okay, now you might say, well, what's that all about? Well, we just talked a few moments ago about where we would select a trade. We look for the resistance levels. So if, for example, we're on the 15-minute chart, or the 30-minute chart, here's a good example. You know, that's where we are right now. But this here could be a resistance. So I wouldn't want to put a trade on there until we get to about here, okay? Now, while we're talking about that, I'll just mention something which happened last week. And for those people who got caught out with this trade, you'll know what I'm talking about. I put some signals into Telegram that basically, if I'm using this as a comparison, those signals were set about here, okay? Well away from where we are right now, and well above the what could be a resistance level. So I put those signals up here somewhere. Okay, and I sometimes refer that as to being out of the noise. I mean, this is a perfect example of noise. Why would you want to put a trade on around here? Because there's a lot of activity and it's not clear exactly what's going on. So that's what I call noise. And if you put a trade on when there's a lot of noise going off, then it's more or less a 50-50 chance whether you make any money or not. So this is a perfect place to put a trade on above a resistance and above what seems to be a rising trend. This is a rising trend. So if this trend continues and it goes above this resistance level here, then it could continue rising. So that's where I typically would put some signals and put some pending orders. Well, the other day, I did that. I put the signals in the Telegram group and I was happy with that. And I looked at them and I thought, I bet I can imagine what people are thinking. People will be thinking, why did Malcolm put the signals right up there? Well, I put the signals right up there so that they're well away of any noise, and because if the DAX crosses that level of resistance, it's likely to continue in that upward trend. And that's typically how I place my trades and why typically most of my trades make profit. However, the other day, I was trying to think what the people in the group might be thinking. And they'd be sitting looking at their chart thinking, well, it's okay for Malcolm, he's put those trades on right up there. What about something now? So that's what I did. I put a trade on here somewhere. About there, for example. Below the resistance anyway, that's for sure. And the moment I put that trade on, I thought, that doesn't seem right to me. And obviously it wasn't right because it wasn't a trade I would normally put on anyway. But I put it on with best interests to keep people happy. Because people want activity now. They don't want to put a trade on in an hour's time. They want to put a trade on now. Okay, so I put that trade on. I sent the signal out, and as I say, it went on basically just to keep people happy so that they don't have to wait for an hour or so for the first trade. And I didn't feel comfortable, and I even put it in the Telegram group that I don't feel sure about that trade. And then I even said, I'm going to close my trade. So I closed my trade, I think it was with a 20-point loss, not a lot. But unfortunately, quite a number of people sat on their trade, and it was the wrong trade, and it came down a long way, a good 100 points. I won't tell you how many points. It came down a long way, and most people closed that trade, and unfortunately, most people lost money on that trade. So I have to apologize for that, but equally understand my challenge. If I'm trying to help you make money, I don't want you saying to yourself, well, why is he not giving us some more trades? I'm going to give you the trades I think are the right trades, and you know, if you've got to wait an hour for them, then so be it. You know, you're better off waiting an hour for a trade to go live than putting a trade on the next 10 minutes that could lose you 200. Okay, so with practice, and if you place these trades on your demo account, you're going to appreciate the value of these trades and why these trades have been put on exactly where they have been put on. Okay, and you'll then, with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to find your own trades. And very, very soon, you'll be able to do, you know, 10, 20, 30 trades a day, and most of them will be profitable. So it's practice makes perfect. And if you're trading on a demo account, you've got nothing to lose, everything to gain in the way of experience. So, you know, it's not going to blow up. The trading platform's perfectly stable. Just put those trades on, but learn from your mistakes and try to understand exactly what's going on. Why are we putting the trades on where we do? And all I want to do now is just show you something which is really important with the Bollinger Bands, and that is what we call a squeeze. Okay, so with the Bollinger Bands, we've got the upper band, we've got the middle band, and we've got the lower band. Okay, 3 bands. And some people would argue that when it gets to the middle, it shoots back up to the top band again. Some people would argue that when it gets to the middle band, it goes to the bottom band. But I don't do all this into trading between the 3 bands. Okay, I've told you what I do. I look for resistance levels, support levels. This is a support level, and for example, here, if the DAX is coming down and it crosses that point there, which is, you might say is a support level, all this activity here, I would say it could be going down, and it did do, of course. But typically, I don't like sell trades because the trend is upwards. So why put a trade on that it's going down when historically it's going up? So I think you've seen what I do. Here's an example. If the DAX, for example, is losing volume, it's going down and 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 down, down here, what I would be doing is I would be putting on pending orders here, 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 all the way down, but not sell stops. I'd be putting on buy stops. Okay? The reason for that is because at some stage or other, it's going to reverse and go back up again. Okay, so if I put buy stops here coming down, then when it levels out down here and goes back up, it's going to activate this buy stop, 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 this buy stop. And that's how I trade. So I don't sell because it's suddenly going down. I enter buy stop positions generally. Of course, you could place a sell order, a sell stop, or even a market execution. But if I know that the trend is upwards, I'll generally put pending orders on in readiness for when it reverses. Okay, so these are what we call a squeeze. So when you've got these three moving averages, the upper band, the middle band, and the lower band, when they come close together and they go parallel, that's what we call a squeeze. Okay, so this is not a squeeze, this is not a squeeze, but there's an example of a squeeze. And sometimes these squeezes can get more narrow than that, and they can go on for a few hours. So you get these three lines going horizontal for quite some period of time. Let's have a look to see if we can find some other examples of squeezes. Now these are quite close, but I don't trade on the 1 minute anyway. Okay, so here's an example where the three lines got closer together, and what happens is the longer a squeeze continues, the more it's going to create what we call a breakout. Because bearing in mind all the billions of dollars that's going into the market, that money is either going to go into the DAX or it's going to come out the DAX. So the markets don't like inactivity. And when there's low volume, which you typically have during the course of a squeeze, you've got inactivity, which is why the three bands come close together and it creates what we call a squeeze. However, this is what I'm looking for. And you want to try and look for these squeezes, because what then happens is it will break out, and it will either break out to what we call the upside, which is where it goes upwards, or it will break out and it will go to the downside, which is where it goes downwards. So let's have a look at some more examples. Here's another example of a squeeze, look. Some examples are better than others. There's an example here. Went up here. So if you can take on board what we've been talking and look for these squeezes, now there's a good example. So we're now on the 4-hour chart. Okay, so went up here, came close together, and this was a perfect indication of a falling market. So if you'd have known that, you could have been selling down here. Now, what would have happened is you'd have opened some selling positions here and then got nervous because it went back up again. But the reality was it was coming down. Okay, and it went back up again. So don't get nervous because it's come back up again. It's going down. Okay, so these squeezes will indicate a breakout either to the upside or to the downside. But basically, that completes the basic training. If you can apply all of what you've learned during the course of that training session, It is not rocket science. It is very, very simple. You'll be absolutely amazed how many winning trades you can have on a daily basis. And if you've got any friends or family that are interested in working less hours and making more income, then you need to refer them to the GLOBIT Wealth Academy, because you can also create team commissions from building a team. This here, incidentally, here is also another way of placing an order. You can click the number of lots that you want, choose which, choose the entry level. So I don't use those, to be honest. Well, in fact, I'm not going to talk about them right now. So I'm going to unmute the, give me 2 seconds. Okay, so everyone is now unmuted. Do we have any questions from anybody? I might be able to take 2 or 3 questions. Any questions from anybody?
Malcolm?
Yes, who's that?
Yes, Bill.
I'm sorry, Bill. Yes, I recognise you. Yes, go on, Bill.
Yeah, once you put these lines on,
Yeah.
I was playing with the charts this morning, trying to do this sort of thing, but I couldn't see how to take those lines off when I put them in the wrong place.
Oh, can you share your screen right now and let me show you on your platform?
Well, I've not got my platform open. Can you not just take one off here?
Yeah, of course. So that's a good question that Bill's just raised there. How do you remove these lines? So basically, just put your mouse on the screen, do a right click, click object list, and then you'll see here, you've got all these different horizontal lines.
Oh, right.
And you can remove all of them just by doing that. Now, equally, when you click those horizontal lines, you'll find a little white dot appears on the right-hand side. Can you see the little white dot? Can you see that? Can you see that, Bill, the little white dot?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
So, for example, it might be a specific line that you want to remove. So all you have to do is just look, which one is it?
Right, yeah.
So if I now click delete, it will delete that one with a little white dot.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Malcolm.
And I'm now going to delete all those, so you can start with a nice clean screen.
That obviously applies to the oblique lines as well. Same system.
You mean the Bollinger Bands?
No, if you're putting lines in following the charts where they're going down to see if you put a chart at the top and at the bottom.
I'm talking about trend lines like these, for example.
Now, what is the average speed?
Can you see? Because these are trend lines.
That one there, yeah.
Yeah, they're just the same. Just a right click, go to object list, and click these trend lines.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, super.
That's a great question. Anybody else got any questions?
Malcolm, maybe you have recorded this, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's £50.
I want to go back over it.
It's £50 a recording, Ricky.
No, it's just so I can go back over it and have a proper play with it.
Yeah, definitely. Any
the more practice you get, the better,
Oh, absolutely. When you've placed thousands of trades, you'll be amazed. So you want to see if you can place, 20, 30 trades a day if you can.
Right.
And especially if you're on a demo account, you're only going to learn. You're not going to lose any money. You're only going to learn. The more you practice, the better you get.
Brilliant.
And you'll see that this is just using what we call technical analysis. So, there's a method that we use. Okay, so that's Ricky. Does anybody else have any questions? Any other questions? Okay, no other questions. Hopefully you got some benefit from that. And thanks for coming on the call today. This training is going to be every Sunday. We're going to have a live training on a Wednesday. And then tonight at 8 o'clock, we've got our opportunity meeting. So if you've got anybody that's interested in possibly making what seems to be easy money and would like to learn about cryptocurrency and how to possibly multiply their capital and their income 100 times, and if that sounds impossible, I'm not joking. I'm going to show you at 8 o'clock how you can multiply your capital and your income at least 100 times or more within the next 12 months or less. So you imagine, how would you like to have £1,000 and see that £1,000 become £100,000 within the next 12 months? If that's the sort of result you'd like to see, then you need some understanding, you need some education, you need to come to the opportunity meeting that comes on at 8 o'clock. So get as many people to the opportunity meeting as you can. It's free information, and hopefully if they like what they see, they'll want to join your team. And as you know, for every person in your team, you're going to make it £50 per month. So that completes the training for today. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your interest. I look forward to getting to know all of you as much as possible. And I'll see you all later on at 8 o'clock on the opportunity. And thanks again.